It's me.
Sorry.
What did your foot look like?
Backwards.
It's a call kid. If he's kidnapped, he's in the house on Highway U. Both his legs are broken and his ankle. You're Joe, come talk to that guy. He said, no, just get me out of here as soon as you can.
He enjoyed breaking bones. He enjoyed the sound of breaking bones.
What do you mean backwards?
Facing the opposite direction, should have been facing.
There were 3 sheets of paper. There were 3 lists. One was called Get to Know. One was called Can Wait. And one was called Leg Thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the world of crime, numerous cases have come to light, ranging from acts of rape to instances of murder. But have you heard about the infamous Bonebreaker case? Today's case revolves around one such case of a 17-year-old boy who derived pleasure from breaking the bones of his victims and found joy in the sound of bones shattering. The infamous case of Joe Clark, who was also recognized as the Bonebreaker of Baraboo, will be the center of our story today. It all began on July 4th, 1994, when 14-year-old Chris Steiner disappeared from his bedroom in Baraboo, Wisconsin. He was scheduled to work his new job that morning, but his parents couldn't find him when they tried to wake him up at 6:15 a.m. Chris's father told the authorities that he had checked on his son the previous night at 10 p.m. and found him asleep in his bed. Unfortunately, this was the last time anyone saw Chris alive. The peaceful town of Baraboo was left reeling by the mysterious murder, with the residents viewing the young boy's death as an individual tragedy. Little did they know the murderer lurked among them, and they were unaware of the fact that he was waiting to strike again. But every criminal has its downfall, even the most elusive ones like Joe Clark. And when the showdown came, it was more epic than anyone could have imagined. The case that became the reason behind Clark's downfall occurred involving a 13-year-old boy named Tad Phillips. Phillips had experienced 43 hours of agonizing torment after being forcibly taken from his residence while he was peacefully sleeping on the couch in his home. Clark then subjected him to brutal physical torture within the confines of his home. The sudden disappearance of the young boy led to his family experiencing panic and devastation. The days following his disappearance were incredibly challenging for them, as Phillips seemed to have vanished into thin air without a trace. Clark met his end when the 13-year-old fortunately evaded his terrifying clutches by dialing 911. Consequently, the Bonebreaker was ultimately defeated, and justice prevailed. But the question remains, what drove the 17-year-old to such extreme measures? Was it a thirst for power, or perhaps something even darker lurked beneath the surface? Join me on the gripping journey as we unveil the mysteries surrounding Joe Clark, the Bonebreaker killer. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single bone-chilling detail about this case. So without any further delay, let's get started. In an era where most young boys find pleasure in rebellious pursuits, Joe Clark, a 17-year-old resident of Baraboo, Wisconsin, derived pleasure from subjecting other boys to imprisonment and torment. It all began in July 4th, 1994, when a 14-year-old boy's parents realized he was not at home. Steiner's parents then contacted law enforcement, and law enforcement confirmed an abduction had occurred, with a cut window screen, muddy footprints, and an unlocked patio door as evidence. Despite the authorities' diligent work, 5 days after his disappearance, his lifeless body was discovered entangled in a tree on the banks of the Wisconsin River. An autopsy was conducted, revealing that the cause of death was drowning. However, the circumstances surrounding his demise, whether it was accidental or something more sinister, remained unsolved. The unknown case brought a sense of unease in Baraboo. Residents hoped for the boy's death to be an individual incident, but they were unaware of the fact that Steiner's killer remained at large, blending in and planning to strike again. And on the fateful morning of July 29, 1995, the killer did just that. Thad Phillips, a 13-year-old boy from the same town, woke up in the middle of the night, feeling someone lifting him up from the couch. Initially, he assumed that it was a family member guiding him to bed, but was surprised to find himself outside, placed on the ground by a young man he did not recognize, but assumed it to be a close acquaintance of his family. Despite feeling confused, Phillips agreed to depart with him, lured in by the promises of a party. Phillips' realization of potential trouble only occurred when they reached a dilapidated house approximately a mile away. Clark introduced himself by his first name, Joe, and then forcibly directed Phillips to his bedroom, on the upper floor. He callously threw him into the filthy bed and proceeded to ruthlessly manipulate and control one of Phillips' ankles until it snapped and fractured. Despite being injured, Phillips displayed his resilience by breaking free from Clark's hold and making his way downstairs. However, Clark caught up to him and forcibly threw him onto a nearby couch in a fit of rage, and ended up breaking Phillips' other ankle and thigh bone by pushing his leg upwards. Joe's actions may have seemed practical at first when he disabled his captive, but it soon became clear that he had a disturbing obsession. He confessed to Phillips that he took pleasure in the sound of breaking bones, and that he had done these crimes before in the past and really enjoyed it. However, he also displayed a peculiar fondness for tending to injuries, carefully wrapping Phillips' wounds with socks and braces. The torment continued throughout the night until Clark departed, leaving Phillips by himself in bed as he believed his injuries were too severe for him to flee. But Clark had not anticipated the strength of Phillips. Despite the injuries, he was persistently seeking an opportunity to make a second escape. After Clark's departure, Phillips managed to make his way down the stairs, finally reaching the kitchen. It was at that moment when Clark and a girl walked in and sat on the couch, completely unaware of his existence in the nearby room. Unfortunately, as soon as Clark's companion left, the heartless young man unexpectedly encountered Phillips in the kitchen.
Kind of looked away, and as soon as he looked away, I got up and ran as fast as I could down the stairs. Can't run very fast with a broken ankle. But I got down the stairs and through his living room into the kitchen before he finally caught up to me and got behind me and put me in a hole, dragged me back into his living room.
And despite his initial surprise, he forcefully guided Phillips back upstairs to continue the brutal attack, this time adding a threat of death, which had likely been his plan from the start. In his desperate attempts to escape, Phillips made 3 different efforts, and eventually, on the evening of July 30th, Clark once again departed from the residence, this time ensuring Phillips was securely locked in the bedroom closet. Realizing he was running out of escape opportunities, Phillips made his third and last attempt to escape. He found an old guitar in the dark closet and used it to break down the door. Dehydrated and weak, Phillips mustered the courage to throw himself down the stairs, losing consciousness multiple times. Finally reaching the kitchen phone, he dialed 911 and detailed his dire situation to a shocked dispatcher.
Police! Dad?
We're here. It's me.
Sorry.
Officers promptly arrived at the shared location and successfully rescued Phillips, where he had been held captive for approximately 43 hours, enduring severe fractures in both legs that would necessitate multiple surgeries in the coming years.
You know, I can't believe somebody was kept in this closet. I can't believe the kid busted out of there. Can't believe he's still alive.
Phillips, after being rescued by the police, disclosed that Joe had confessed to murdering Chris Steiner. This revelation was unexpected, considering that the pathologist who had examined Steiner initially found no evidence of any harm. However, the case had always been enigmatic, and as the body had become swollen due to being submerged in water, it was possible that the pathologist had missed something. Also, investigators discovered that no x-rays had been conducted, adding another layer of complexity to the investigation. To connect the two crimes and identify a single perpetrator, Chris Steiner's remains needed to be exhumed. After the body was examined, it was discovered that Steiner had 4 breaks in his legs, making it impossible for him to swim and leading to his drowning. The discovery gave the detectives probable cause to search Joe Clark's bedroom, where they found a notebook with lists of targeting local boys, including Steiner's name. Clark denied involvement, but his alibi was disproven under the light of strong evidence. Joe Clark was found guilty in October 1997 for a range of offenses connected to the kidnapping of Thad Phillips. These offenses comprised inflicting serious physical harm on a minor, luring a child, trying to commit first-degree intentional murder, causing severe injury, and psychological harm to a minor. Even though he pleaded not guilty due to insanity, the jury concluded that Clark was mentally competent. As a result, he was given a 100-year prison term. Furthermore, Clark was handed an additional 50-year sentence for the killing of Chris Steiner. To this day, Clark maintains that he had no recollection of his actions towards Phillips and asserts his innocence regarding Steiner's death. In an attempt to challenge some of his convictions due to lack of evidence, Clark pursued an appeal. However, the district court dismissed the case. After Phillips was free, he arrived at the hospital to find a serious situation, life-threatening internal bleeding. The doctors informed him that he only had a few hours left to live, Multiple surgeries were needed to restore his mobility, but due to lack of funds, in April 2023, Baraboo resident Olga Johnson and her husband initiated a GoFundMe campaign with a target of $100,000 to support Phillips and expressed their gratitude towards Phillips for his contributions to the community. Thanks to the surgeries and ongoing medical care, Phillips has regained his ability to walk, but still has a slight limp. Ultimately, this case stands as an example of not losing hope in the face of adversity. Phillips' unwavering determination to break free led to the heroic actions, allowing Phillips to not only save himself, but also protect the community and would-be future victims. Furthermore, it also highlights the urgent need for prevention and intervention programs that address the root cause of youth violence and mental illness. By providing support and services to at-risk youth, we can help prevent tragedies like this from happening in the future. Our hearts and thoughts go out to Phillips and the other victims' family. Thanks for watching, and remember to hit that like button, subscribe for more thrilling content, and share the video with your friends. Until next time, stay safe and stay cautious. Who knows what mysteries we'll uncover next. Thanks for watching.